The Motivator Show. The internet's most inspirational podcast. Every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Kamala Harris, Vice President. Let's debate a future Kamala Harris presidency on The Motivator Show, the People's Town Hall. African women's voices. African women from across Africa and Europe share their ambitions, demands, and concerns for a future Kamala Harris presidency. Yes! Vice President Kamala Harris, born 1964 in Oakland, California. Her father, Professor Donald Harris, Emeritus Professor of Economics at Stanford University, born 1938 in St. Anne's Parish in Jamaica. Her mother, Dr. Shamalia Gopal, PhD, endocrinologist, breast cancer researcher, born 1938 in India, Chennai. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024. Indeed, the Democratic Party's first African and South Asian American and first woman nominee for President of the United States of America. After President Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential election, Vice President Kamala Harris launched her own presidential campaign with President Biden's endorsement. On July 22, 2024, Harris secured enough non-binding support from delegates to become the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. At the Democratic National Party Convention, Vice President Kamala Harris' acceptance speech, she said, before coming into politics, she worked as a lawyer, eventually becoming the U.S. Attorney General, the top lawmaker in the country. She said, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. She said that if she became president, she would focus on everyday needs, wanting to make sure Americans are fully able to make their own decisions about their own lives, especially about matters of heart and home. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024. She will be America's first woman president. Women were deliberately left out of the US Constitution as they were not recognized as full citizens in 1787. Even today, centuries after it was enacted, the Constitution does not fully prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Sex is not held in the same strict standard as race and religion in the eyes of the law, making it harder for women to court to prove complaints of bias or unequal treatment. That is why the Equal Right Amendment, ERA, must be added to the Constitution. After a century of advocacy, women are now closer than ever to having the ERA enshrined in the US Constitution. The progress America has made towards women's equality can be lost at any time because those advances depend on legislation that can be and has been weakened or repealed by Congress. But the ERA can stop that from happening. Vice President Kamala Harris. will be America's first woman president. On June 24th, 2022, the nightmare scenario many Americans feared became a dystopian reality. In a 6-3 decision in Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Organization, the infamous, extreme, right-wing conservative justices of the United States Supreme Court struck down a previous decision of the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade, stripping women and all pregnant persons of bodily autonomy and opening the floodgate for anti-women states to impose onerous restrictions on abortion without exception for rape, incest, or medical care for the pregnant person. The 6 Supreme Court justices who lied at their confirmation hearing testified Roe v. Wade was settled law. Justices Amy Coney Barrett, Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Samuel Alito, and indeed Chief Justice John Roberts. Chief Justice John Roberts favored upholding the Mississippi restriction on abortion, highly exceptional restrictions, but didn't favor overturning Roe v. Wade. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. According to the African American Policy Forum report, Black Girls Matter. Girls of color, particularly African heritage girls, face experiences both similar to as well as different from their male counterparts. The School to Prison pipeline does just that, sending young children of African heritage, disproportionately girls, from schools to incarceration. It exists as an infrastructure to institutionalize racism, reinforcing subordination of women of African heritage. Currently, more than 200,000 women are in prison, and their incarceration rate is double that of men. Women of African heritage suffer disproportionately and are incarcerated at triple the rate of white women. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. She has also been fighting for justice reform for decades. As San Francisco's district attorney, she implemented a nationally recognized model to reduce recidivism rates from 50% to under 10%. And as Vice President, she strengthened accountability of federal law enforcement by banning chokehold, restricting no-knock entries, and providing guidance on use of force standards. Over the past 4 years, Vice President Harris has worked alongside President Biden to increase African American wealth by 60% compared to before the pandemic, and to help over 250,000 African Americans become homeowners. As Vice President and as a Senator, she secured tens of billions of dollars for community development financial institutions across the country, and launched the Economic Opportunity Coalition, a novel private-public initiative where private sector entities are driving tens of billions of dollars into underserved communities. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. On a recent trip to Africa, the focus not on what the United States could do for Africa, but what the administration could do with the continent. She repeated two strategically important statistics: that the median age on the continent is 19, and that by 2050, 1 in 4 people on the planet will live in Africa. In Accra, thousands cheered Vice President Harris during a major speech at Black Star Gate, a monument celebrating the country's gaining independence in 1957. When she discussed equality for women, she said, "Let us agree, women around the world must be able to fully participate in economic, political, and social life. And they must be able to participate equally, including in leadership roles. It is a key to maximizing global growth and opportunity." The Motivator Show. Success is ours for the taking. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Press the like button and don't forget to leave a comment. Follow us on Facebook. Give us the thumbs up and share with your family and friends. We are also on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us there too. You can listen to us on galaxy.net and also Mixcloud too. The Motivator Show. The internet's most inspirational podcast. Every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Kamala Harris, Vice President. Let's debate a future Kamala Harris presidency on The Motivator Show, the People's Town Hall. African women's voices. African women from across Africa and Europe share their ambitions, demands, and concerns for a future Kamala Harris presidency. Yes! Vice President Kamala Harris, born 1964 in Oakland, California. Her father, Professor Donald Harris, Emeritus Professor of Economics at Stanford University, born 1938 in St. Anne's Parish in Jamaica. Her mother, Dr. Shamalia Gopal, PhD, endocrinologist, breast cancer researcher, born 1938 in India, Chennai. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024. Indeed, the Democratic Party's first African and South Asian American and first woman nominee for President of the United States of America. After President Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential election, Vice President Kamala Harris launched her own presidential campaign with President Biden's endorsement. On July 22nd, 2024, Harris secured enough non-binding support from delegates to become the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. At the Democratic National Party convention, Vice President Kamala Harris' acceptance speech, she said, before coming into politics, she worked as a lawyer, eventually becoming the US Attorney General, the top lawmaker in the country. She said, "My entire career, I've only had one client, the people." She said that if she became president, she would focus on everyday needs, wanting to make sure Americans are fully able to make their own decisions about their own lives, especially about matters of heart and home. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024. She will be America's first woman president. Women were deliberately left out of the US Constitution as they were not recognized as full citizens in 1787. Even today, centuries after it was enacted, the Constitution does not fully prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Sex is not held in the same strict standard as race and religion in the eyes of the law, making it harder for women to court to prove complaints of bias or unequal treatment. That is why the Equal Right Amendment, ERA, must be added to the Constitution. After a century of advocacy, women are now closer than ever to having the ERA enshrined in the US Constitution. The progress America has made towards women's equality can be lost at any time because those advances depend on legislation that can be and has been weakened or repealed by Congress. But the ERA can stop that from happening. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. On June 24, 2022, the nightmare scenario many Americans feared became a dystopian reality. In a 6-3 decision in Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Organization, the infamous, extreme, right-wing conservative justices of the United States Supreme Court struck down a previous decision of the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade, stripping women and all pregnant persons of bodily autonomy and opening the floodgate for anti-women states to impose onerous restrictions on abortion without exception for rape, incest, or medical care for the pregnant person. The 6 Supreme Court justices who lied at their confirmation hearing testified Roe v. Wade was settled law. Justices Amy Coney Barrett, Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Samuel Alito, and indeed Chief Justice John Roberts. Chief Justice John Roberts favored upholding the Mississippi restriction on abortion, highly exceptional restrictions, but didn't favor overturning Roe v. Wade. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. According to the African American Policy Forum report, Black girls matter. Girls of color, particularly African heritage girls, face experiences both similar to as well as different from their male counterparts. The school to prison pipeline does just that. sending young children of African heritage, disproportionately girls, from schools to incarceration. It exists as an infrastructure to institutionalize racism, reinforcing subordination of women of African heritage. Currently, more than 200,000 women are in prison, and their incarceration rate is double that of men. Women of African heritage suffer disproportionately and are incarcerated at triple the rate of white women. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. She has also been fighting for justice reform for decades. As San Francisco's district attorney, she implemented a nationally recognized model to reduce recidivism rates from 50% to under 10%. And as vice president, she strengthened accountability of federal law enforcement by banning chokehold, restricting no-knock entries, and providing guidance on use of force standards. Over the past 4 years, Vice President Harris has worked alongside President Biden to increase African American wealth by 60% compared to before the pandemic, and to help over 250,000 African Americans become homeowners. As Vice President and as a Senator, she secured tens of billions of dollars for community development financial institutions across the country, and launched the Economic Opportunity Coalition, a novel private-public initiative where private sector entities are driving tens of billions of dollars into underserved communities. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. On a recent trip to Africa, the focus not on what the United States could do for Africa, but what the administration could do with the continent. She repeated two strategically important statistics: that the median age on the continent is 19, and that by 2050, 1 in 4 people on the planet will live in Africa. In Accra, thousands cheered Vice President Harris during a major speech at Black Star Gate, a monument celebrating the country's gaining independence in 1957. When she discussed equality for women, she said, "Let us agree, women around the world must be able to fully participate in economic, political, and social life. And they must be able to participate equally, including in leadership roles. It is a key to maximizing global growth and opportunity." The Motivator Show. Success is ours for the taking. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Press the like button and don't forget to leave a comment. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's the Motivator here. This is where we translate our words into action. And when success is ours for the taking. How are you feeling? Well, I'm feeling fantastic. Oh yeah, this is going to be another inspirational experience. Be ready for that. Oh yeah, I'm feeling so good. And after our last transmission, and wasn't that fantastic? I've got to say, wasn't that fantastic? And I'm going to talk about our last transmission last Saturday. I want to thank our guests of last Saturday, providing an Pan-African perspective, or the perspective for the Democratic Party in the States for President Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. It was interesting to begin that process, to begin those policy statements, and establish the, where areas of concordance and agreement, and areas where there might be deviations in position. But it's an important process to understand what this likely president can do and will do for Africa and indeed African peoples worldwide. This podcast will be no different. This time we'll focus on the, the perspective of women. Oh yeah, vitally important to listen to women. Okay. Today's podcast will focus on what are African women's view on the policy statements, on the positioning of the Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay. And is she likely to do well for both African Americans and Africans, women particularly, worldwide, and most certainly in Africa? This will be a full examination, and we have guests from various African countries and the Caribbean and Britain to share their perspective with us as we go through those policy statements. But until then, there's a few announcements I want to make, and wow, I've got a few to get into a relatively short period of time, but you understand why it's necessary to give you that preview. And I hope you watched the preview interview, I should say, preview video. And if you didn't, please, I wish to encourage you to, because if you didn't, I'll play it at the end of the podcast. It's full of and jam-packed full of information, useful information that will help and guide you points. But until then, let's first of all acknowledge that this show goes out to many platforms. And the platform I want to give particular love to, of course, is Galaxy at Fiwi.net, a digital radio station based here in London, more than 40 years old. It's a testament to resilience. Yeah. I'm going to give praise and thanks to Pakamba, yeah, the visionary founder and the visionary leader of Galaxy at Fiwi.net. And if you haven't listened to that digital radio station, I recommend it to you. In fact, let me put the various platforms on the screen now so you can see where we are. So, of course, I've mentioned Galaxy at Fiwi.net. I recommend that digital radio station to you as an inspirational, consistent, inspirational digital radio station. But of course, this show goes out on YouTube. Yep, YouTube under the Motivator banner. The Motivator banner. We go live via Facebook under the Motivator banner. We go live via Mixcloud under the Motivator banner. And of course, excerpts are sent out on Instagram and Facebook. And if you haven't tried those other platforms, I want to recommend them to you. I want to recommend them to you. Absolutely fantastic platforms. And we'll continue to extend our coverage. And I'm really pleased of many of you who are signing on. It's free to sign on. And you receive an initial update on what is coming in forthcoming shows. And it's a further affirmation to the various algorithms that control social media on YouTube, on Facebook, and others, yeah, that they will point people to this podcast. Please help us to expand our listenership viewership. It's a further affirmation that the messages are having that impact. But I also want to make sure that as part of this growth that is well underway, yeah, this continuous renaissance, the indomitable African spirit, okay, which these shows are designed to give light to and appreciation to, okay, that you hear the messages. Remember, I say at the beginning, we translate words into action. Yep, yep, yep. That's what we do. We translate words It's ours for the taking. And that's the mindset that brings you to the Motivator Show. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Affirmation. Say to yourself, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, now we're in the mood. Let me give a first of all a few announcements, and you'll be aware that I want to make sure that those organizations who are making a positive contribution to development are given a platform, given light, and are recognized by the people so you can direct your attention to them. Better still, give them some of your time, some of your resources, so they can continue to develop their position. Okay. One such organisation will give light to, of course, and many of you recognize our children are so important to us. So the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools, or NAB, is an important organisation. It brings together those who are involved in supporting young people. It could be an after-school project, yeah? It could be a cultural centre. It could be a place for young people to exercise. It could be a place for purely leisure, but it's all part of their development, but under the control and the guidance of the community. Vitally important. We're taking responsibility. So the network of such facilities across Britain are recorded here in the National Association of Black Supplementary School. It's a place for those who are involved in young people's development. It's an important place to ensure your organisation is registered here. So mums and dads, guardians can find you. So the website address is www.nabss.org.uk. www.nabss.org.uk. You email them your information at info@nabss.org.uk or phone the Inspired Volunteer on 07 if you're in the UK. It's +44 outside the UK. 798 48558. I repeat, 07958 I commend the National Association of Black Supplementary Schools to you as a worthwhile organisation to give support. I recognise them as being outstanding an organisation. I also want to recognise very quickly those who've been affected, particularly here in the UK, by the scam and need support and guidance. Yep. Okay. I commend to you previous guests here on this podcast, and that's, of course, the Win-Win Legal Advice Clinic. They're based at 58 Bank Street in West Midlands, WB148PD. Or if you need, you can contact them by email at info@winrushlegaladviceclinic.com. It's all one word. Winrush advice.com, or you can phone on 001-902-382-542. I commend the Windrush Legal Advice Clinic to you, and one that is worthy of support. If you need advice and guidance, go there first, and they can always point you in other directions as required. And it's an important development. And I'll give another quick promotion to an event that took place a few years ago at the beginning of the hurricane seasons in the Caribbean. And many of you will recognize this, okay? And recognize that there wasn't a hurricane. Let me, in fact, put it up on the screen. Here we go. Here we are. Put it up on the screen. Hurricane Beryl. Yep. And that hurricane, category 5 hurricane, devastated parts of Antigua and Jamaica. Okay. As a consequence, even up until today, the people living in huts because they don't have a home. There are schools that have been destroyed and yet to be rebuilt, or schools that have been seriously damaged, which have yet to be fixed because the resources are so limited. I ask you, if you can, to give generously. They come to, of course, buy non-perishable food, and bed kits and sheets and pillows, children, adult diapers, tarpaulins, zinc, and other building materials. Help them, get the resources to them. They, most certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, account number 2861233. And of course, in the transfer, always include the reference DRF Bell, in other words, Disaster Relief Fund Bell. I commend this organization to you and the cause which they are committed to ensuring it's mitigated by your and our support. Very important, very important. And what I want to do now is move to the next section. The section, of course, and many of you will be aware that I'm also a public servant of sorts, a member. I'm often exposed to the official figures, the reality of living where I am here in London, and particularly in relation to health, for particularly those of us of African heritage and indeed Southeast Asian heritage, okay? The figures are quite disturbing, okay? Levels of diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, respiratory conditions, yeah, cancer, heart conditions are off the scale. Yeah. But much of it, it's down to our lifestyle. It's our lifestyle. But we eat the food that we eat and lack of exercise. So it can be countered with conscious thought, with conscious thinking, conscious action towards a better you, a better family, a better community. So what I want to do is play for you the lifestyle messages video, the short video, but I want you to listen and watch carefully, okay? And I want you not to turn away. I know for some it's a trigger, because you don't want to face it. I get that, I get that, I get that. But it is so, so important that you are not alone. This judgmental, this simple, straightforward advice. Okay? But all advice given, go to your doctors, go to whoever you trust to give you lifestyle advice. And verify whatever is said here. It's basic information. And you remember the inspired diabetic Lyndon? Yep, yep. Do you remember him? Lyndon Lizard? Someone with diabetes to manage his diabetes. So carefully. The motivators show success is ours for the taking. Lifestyle messages. We ask that you consider the amount of sugar and salt consumed each day. There is a direct causal link between the overconsumption of sugar and type 2 diabetes, prevalent particularly in the African heritage communities. It is estimated that more than 2 in 4 have either a diagnosed condition of diabetes or an undiagnosed condition of diabetes. Here in Britain, the NHS spends more than £26 billion treating people with diabetes, which is a condition for life. Too much salt in our diet disrupts the natural sodium balance in the body. This causes fluid retention, which increases the blood pressure exerted by the blood against the blood vessel walls, or high blood pressure. The potential impact of too much salt can include enlarged heart muscles, headaches, heart failure, high blood pressure, kidney disease, kidney stones, osteoporosis, stomach cancer, and strokes. Another lifetime condition. We ask that you consider the amount of carbohydrate consumed each day. Typically derived from wheat-based produce such as pasta and other related wheat-based products, and of course root vegetables such as potatoes and the yam. And yes, I did say yams. Excess carbohydrates intake places a large metabolic load on the body. When the body constantly has high levels of blood sugars to deal with over time, this leads to weight gain, poor metabolic health, and an increased risk of heart disease. We ask you to consider the amount of fat that you consume each day. On the screen, you can see raw meat. Clearly, the red meat is meat, but the white streaks you see in the meat is fat. Our bodies need healthy fat for energy and other functions, but too much saturated fat can cause cholesterol to build up in your arteries, in other words, our blood vessels. Saturated fat raise your LDL or bad cholesterol levels. This can increase your risk of heart disease and neurological strokes. Too much fat is linked to increased risk of obesity or fatness, coronary heart disease, and certain types of cancers, such as breast and colon cancers. On the screen, you see a partially blocked arteries, mainly made up of fatty acids and other ingredients mentioned previously. The blood is being forced through the partial blockage by the heart. Another consequence is, of course, increased hypertension or high blood pressure. Examples of starchy foods include potatoes, bread, pasta, cereals, and rice. Excessive consumption of starch, scientific studies have shown, may cause insulin resistance, in other words, diabetes, may cause skin irritation, many of us will recognize as eczema, may cause gastrointestinal irritation. Many of us will recognize these conditions. On the screen, you can see the examples of the consequences of our lifestyle. Excessive consumption of sugar and salt, carbohydrates, and fat and starch. You see the young lady and gentleman with the bloated shoulders, bloated chest, bloated abdomen, bloated thighs, and bloated bottoms, or buttocks in polite company. The consequence of our lifestyle. The prevalence of obesity amongst black women in the United Kingdom is significantly higher compared to the general population. Approximately 58% of black women in Britain are classified as obese. This rate is considerably higher than the average obesity rate for women across all ethnicities in the UK, which currently stand at between 30 to 32%. This is a public health emergency. The prevalence of obesity amongst black men in Britain is also notably high. Approximately 38% of black men in the UK are classified as obese. This rate is higher than the average obesity rate for men across all ethnicities in the UK, which is around 27 to 29%. This is a public health emergency. The experts recommend that we should eat fresh, untainted foods, including tomatoes and oranges, melons and beetroot, noriega and avocados, grapes and apples, lemons and cabbages, lettuce and cherries, bananas and cucumber, pears and onions, sweet corn and pineapples, carrots and cauliflower, garlic and sweet pepper, lemons and many other fruits and vegetables, which are untainted and are good for you. The experts recommend that we should ensure that we consume between 2 to 3 litres of water per day. It does depend upon your height and your mass. You see on the screen a young man drinking his water, and a young lady enjoying her water. The advice given to you about our lifestyle will not mean anything to you unless you exercise. To exercise for life. You see the young lady with her weights, pumping her weights. You see the mature gentleman running with his headphones in, with a smile on his face. You see a young lady running up and down those stairs. Oh yeah, that is real exercise. You see the young man pushing up and down with his push-ups. This is exercise. Our bodies need exercise. It is important for us always to consider our mental and spiritual health. If you have concerns about your mental health, please seek out professional advice or speak out to those you most trust. I trust that they will seek out the right advice and support for you. And of course, as human beings, we are truly spiritual entities. It is important to speak to your spiritual advisors. The Motivators Show. Success is ours for the taking. Translate our words into action. Translate words into action. Because success is ours for the taking. So true. For those of you who heard this and been able to respond positively, I commend you. Those of you on the watching in, I commend you also because you are turned away. Okay? And I want to give light to from right across Britain, but there are few here in London who've come together in common aim and common purpose. And in doing so, they've formed their own organisation so they can exercise together. To exercise together means you're doing it together. It's less intimidating. It's not so lonely. I would bring tonight to you groups of people from right across the African continent and Caribbean who've come together in common aim and common purpose. Okay? And they recognize working together on their health is a beneficial exercise because, of course, your health is indeed your highest wealth. Yep. I want to show you an example of Africans who transcended both social class, religious affiliation, gender barriers. I want to show you people who've come together in common aim and common purpose and are exercising together, enjoying each other. Okay, this is Ubuntu. This is unity in action through working together to promote our health. It's such an important example. I want to commend to you the Countdown organization, an excellent example of what we must and we should all achieve. Listen again.
Famous Hello, 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 hello. Awe, 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 awe. You get one life on leave, me self get one life on leave. Why we no go use am gladdy and enjoy the time? Palava no dey finish, time me no dey wait nobody. Now why I dey try for always get am nice every day and night? This one way we all friend we safe, now nobody own. You want to eat with you much we go down you belly now you young. And the balance where you go die left now all the money on. So why for the pity you say for? If the motor car where you let buy am. If you see finance where you call it Bilam, oh. You meet up woman where you let Yanam. And if you let the man na for keep am. Want them more. The food where you feel for eat na for eat am. That fine la power where you let na for buy am. And tie am more. And if you baby love you back love am. But if you love them all now you na for left am. Want them more. Cause nobody know waiting tomorrow old. So every day of my life tear old. I fasting enjoyment stay go. Now for land for care for yourself. Nobody love you pass you yourself. All man they fed for himself. Oh. Now why I know they allowed with you other man they pan take me peace away. Me joy away. Me smile away. Oh no make nobody take you peace away. Me joy away. Me smile away. Oh no. Every day. I see they also they work for the pay. They like Naboku on a small you the cage. Land for the loose body 110. No to money, no to gently. No money make motor man and brother. As long as you get waiting, you they eat. Land for the loose body 110. This one way we all friend we safe, now nobody own. You want to eat with you much we go down you belly now you young. And the balance where you go die left now all the money on. So why for the pity you say for? If the motor car where you let buy am. If you see finance where you call it Bilam, oh. You meet up woman where you let Yanam. And if you let the man na for keep am. Want them more. The food where you feel for eat na for eat am. That fine la power where you let na for buy am. And tie am more. And if you baby love you back love am. But if you love them all now you na for left am. Want them more. Cause nobody know waiting tomorrow old. So every day of my life tear old. I fasting enjoyment stay go. Now for land for care for yourself. Nobody love you pass you yourself. All man they fed for himself. Oh. Now why I know they allowed with you other man they pan take me peace away. Me joy away. Me smile away. Oh no make nobody take you peace away. Me joy away. Me smile away. Oh no.
Oh, yeah. Dancing. Yes, I was dancing. I have to admit, I was dancing. Now, I understand some of you might be experiencing some buffering in my voice. I'll work that out shortly. We're just working through that right now, just to make sure we get that right before the interview begins. Now, I do understand it's still continuing, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some adjustments just so that we can overcome that problem. Adjustment is being made as we speak. There you go. And we're preparing for the main interview. feature women, only women. I may open the phone lines, but only to women. We want to hear women's voices, hear and respond to their concerns. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Today's show will give women the platform to view what's happening in America. We can't ignore it. And on that basis, to make a determination from a woman's perspective of the first woman president of the States of America. Okay? So this will be an important occasion. So what I'm going to do is start to bring in the guests from right across the African continent and indeed here in Europe. Okay? They're all on time, I'm noting. So that's a good sign, a very good sign, but I just want to make sure we solve this sound issue before we commence the in earnest. So what I'm going to do now is just make some adjustments to the sound and ensure that we do not have any interruptions as we proceed, because this will be an important occasion. I'm not aware of any other podcaster who set it up so only women will speak. African women will speak. African heritage will speak. Okay? I'm not aware. But this is good. We're breaking new ground. I said I just want to make sure we get this sound sorted out. I want to make sure I've understood why the sound is doing what it's doing. So what I'm going to do, I see what's going on here. If you can bear with me for a moment, I know that my guests are trying to access the show. Can I ask my guests just to stay in the green room? I will bring you in a moment. I just want to resolve the sound issue before I bring you in. In fact, I'll start to bring you in now, so I know you're all getting impatient. Okay, let me bring the first one into the green room. Then got the first one into the green room. If the others can join now, and we'll into the green room now, and I will bring you into the main show momentarily. Just bear with me for a moment. Just to make sure we get this sound right. Let's see. There we go. I think there's a few more will come in shortly. I've been trying, but there were, well, before time, but that is African time. We are either before, ahead of time, or we are on time, but never late. Okay. So the first guest is in the main studio. Before I speak to my main guest, I'm going to bring my other guests in. I'm bringing my other guest. Oh, my other guest just left as I brought her in. Never mind, never mind. I can ask my other guest to come back in. Come back in. Oh, both guests have now left. Okay, this is going to be interesting. All righty, all righty. I can ask my guest to come back in, and we'll get this show on the road. And I also I want the audio issue up as well. And if you'd like to come back in, we can get this interview underway. So if my guest could come back in, and we'll get this interview underway. Let's see if we can do this smoothly, and let's understand what's going on with my audio. It should be fine. I'm going to bring in at least one of my guests again. Let's see if it works. And I believe I may.
Oh, that's better.
I'm going to bring one of my guests in. See if I can bring my guest into the studio. Let's see if that works. It has worked. I wonder if my guest is able to hear us first of all. You're currently muted. I'll give my guest can hear us first of all, but although you are currently muted, I'll bring my other guest in. Yes, good. We can hear you. Excellent. Bear with me for a moment then. Just to bring my other guest in. Let's see if I can bring my other guest in. Ida, can you hear, first of all? Okay. You're hearing us? Okay. This is going to be a good start to today's program. Can you hear us? Both, either one of you, can you hear?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Right. Okay.
No.
Let's figure out what's going on here.
I can't also hear you. I think you have a connectivity issue from your side.
Both will not hear me. Oh, this is interesting.
Well, I can hear her very clearly.
Ah, but you cannot hear me. Right. Okay. Let's see what's going on. What I'm going to do is just make a adjustment to the system to see if it works. That should be better. Can you hear now? No?
I could hear your guess, but I can't hear what you're saying,
Oh,
Martin.
yeah, but you can't hear me. Well, that's not a good start, is
No.
it? You need to hear the host.
Mm.
Okay, all right. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's see what we can do about that right now. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's see what we can do about that. I do apologize. We're going to get
No,
this
why?
right. We'll get this right. Why are we hearing the host? That's, oh, I can hear you perfectly. Now, let's see if we can resolve this very quickly. And let's move it forward. There isn't any real reason why you shouldn't hear. The settings are the same. And I'm just going to make an adjustment here. And now you should hear me. I should be heard fine. Well, let's work it out. This is most unfortunate. I need to make another adjustment to our system. There we go. Make this adjustment here. Okay, this should make a difference. Okay, am I being heard now? No? Yes, can you hear me? Am I being heard now?
Not very well.
Aha. Okay, so I'm being heard. Okay, so that's the cause. And then my other guest coming back in. There we go. We'll get this right. Good morning, Chef. Can you hear us?
Hey, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Oh, she can't hear either. Okay, let's see what we can do about this. Let's see what we can do about this. One moment. One moment. One moment. Let's see.
I can't hear you clearly. I don't understand what.
Oh, I can hear your guess very clearly.
So I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
But
Thanks.
can't hear the host. What a good start.
I can't hear
This is what we
clearly.
can do.
Can,
One moment. Uh,
Can you hear Martin clearly?
no, I can't hear Martin clearly. I can hear you.
right.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear him.
One moment. Okay. Let's see if we can resolve this very quickly.
Mhm.
Yep. Bear with me for a moment. Yep. Okay. One moment. I know you both can hear each other. For whatever reason, you're hearing the host. We'll just work this out. Okay. Okay. Oh, yep. Okay. Okay. Now then, what I might suggest to resolve whatever problem is being caused here, according to this, the board says the settings are correct. Can't see any good reason why you can't hear us. Let's try this setting. Uh, is that any better? Is that any better? Can either one of you hear my voice now? No, can't hear my voice.
No.
Okay. What I think it would be useful, uh, I'm going to uh, I'm going to ask questions of you both. I'm going to ask you first of all to introduce yourselves. A second, one second. One moment. Bear with me for a second. If we see we can resolve this now. Uh, so you're all coming in, and for some reason you can't hear the host, and I'm going to resolve this momentarily. Bear with me. Fine. I might to deploy a different strategy, which is, of course, to Oh, is that any better? Am I being heard now?
Oh, yeah, a bit clearer. Yes.
Ah,
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Can I just check if
Ugh, I can't get my
are
face
you
to
all
center
hearing
though.
me? Can you put your fingers up if you all can hear? Can you all hear me? Excellent. Whew, we got there. Thank you so much. We got there. Not sure why that happened, but never mind. It is good. First of all, for the audience, there you go. What I want to do is this. This will be the first time I'm aware that in a Pan-African setting, on an international stage, we are hearing from women. Your voices are the loudest voices. Because there's a prospect that a woman with African heritage may enter the White House, the United States of America.
Mhm.
And no matter what anyone says, it is and will be a momentous occasion.
Yeah.
What is crucial is that African women worldwide have a view. Because I suspect that your voices will matter. I suspect that is so. So before I begin the interview, I'm going to ask you ladies and a few others who will join us from other countries to join us. I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourselves, to say your name and the country from which you're from, and any organization that you belong to. Okay? So I'm going to start, if I may, with, let me get this right, with, I said the name yesterday, Chef. Yes, is that right? Yeah, is that right?
Shafe.
Shafe, thank you. There you are, Shafe. Okay, and thank you. I'm going to ask you to first of all introduce yourself. Okay, let's just confirm the country to which you're from and any organisation that you belong to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Good morning. My name is Shafe. It's a short of Shafe Tangi. I'm from Namibia, South
Welcome.
Africa. Yeah. The organization that matters to me at this point in time is Mthiu Ruakaro Dawambo. You will not understand that is. It means actually that we are a movement of the Oshiwambo speaking people, the majority of the Namibian population, who are now in the revolution of cultural upbringings. Like we are trying to reform. We are actually
Mhm.
trying to revive. We are a
Yes.
movement of cultural movement. Like basically, that's what we are busy with at the moment.
Welcome. 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 Thank
Thank
you.
you, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the Motivator Show. Okay. Let me now move to my second guest on the continent. And let me see if I can get her to come up. Um, can you hear us, Romina? Can you introduce yourself? Oh, okay, there she's gone now. Aha. You're on mute. You are on mute from Kenya?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Ah,
Good
there you
morning.
go. Yes. Can I ask you just to
Morning.
introduce yourself? Say your name, say the country you're from, and the organization that you belong to. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And I see some very beautiful women, African women. Oh, yeah. My name is Flomina Musheke. I'm from Kenya. I'm from very many organizations. Well, I have my own that is Mind to Heart community-based organization. We call it Mind to Heart Global. It's a community-based organization that is formed in a very grassroots area to help the women get their voices, the PWG, and to help the society understand more on what is governance, what is health. We have 6 thematic areas that we really major on, and the thematic areas is health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, we have peace building, we have climate action and partnership. We really do embrace collaborations. And we're happy to say that we have a good collaboration currently going on with Global Peace Foundation on peace building activities at the community level. And I'm happy to be an African woman pushing the voices of the African women at a very young age, under 30, and I'm proud that our voices are being heard.
We're proud to have you here. Okay, thank you, thank you. And now, can I go to a wonderful woman here, and who pretended to be shy before I spoke
Oh
to
dear.
her.
I hope that's not me.
And she's the oldest one here. Huh? I want to
Yes,
just say,
well,
can I invite you, Ida, here in the UK, just introduce
mm,
yourself,
okay.
just confirm where you're from and the organisation that you belong to.
My name is Ida. I am a proud African woman, but I'm based in the UK at the moment. The organisation, it would mainly be GAC UK, which is Global African Congress, and I'm also part of the Consciism class, which meet on a Thursday to read Kwame Nkrumah's Consciism book, and we also meet on a Saturday to discuss how we can find a way to have a united Africa. If not in our time, with the next generation. So we live in hope. So
Yeah.
that's
Well
what I've got
said.
to say about me. Thank you.
Well said. Well said. Well said. And you, woman, is thousands of miles apart, but we're able to speak as one. And it is interesting, the idea of a united Africa, where peace and prosperity shines, is a shared vision, regardless where you are in the world. And
Mm,
that's a hope for the future. I now want to address the issue of the Democratic Party perspective from candidate, or the candidate for President of the United States of America. I know that having spoken to each one of you, and I hope you don't mind me saying it before I start the interview, each one of you were extremely cautious, very cautious about this,
mhm,
potential
mhm,
event. Okay, and
mhm, mhm, mhm.
oh, have I lost somebody? Oh, I lost one. Oh, I've lost
No,
her.
it's
Did she
not.
come back? Okay, well, anyway, I'll continue. Um, it is really important for us as Africans, wherever possible, to speak with one voice. So I asked each one of you to review the policy statements of Kamala Harris. Okay, I know, I see your expressions. And from those policy statements, get a glean based upon your experience of America, indeed,
Mhm,
and of course, the policy statements by this potential President of the United States, which is almost unique to have someone with African blood who enter the White House, and to provide a woman's perspective, woman's view on this momentous occasion. So I'm going to just start the interview this way. And if I may start, if I may, with yourself, and if I may get it right, from Flomina. Can I ask you? You've gone through their website, her website, and you've got a sense of policy positions and some idea of achievements. What is your initial impression of this woman who claims and indeed possesses both African and Asian heritage, okay, but is a woman in a very much a man's world, okay, and therefore had to steel herself to become first on so many occasions, so many ways. What was your first impression, having read through her website and many other materials? What's your first impression? Over to you, Flamina. Flamina, can you hear us? Or she's still, or she can't hear. Oh, yeah.
Flamina,
Oh,
you, yes.
oh, she can't hear.
I
Oh,
think she.
oh, you're right there. I
Oh,
can. She can't hear me.
she's
Oh,
gone.
well, we can hear you, Flamina.
Flamina is from Kenya, isn't she? No, from.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Uh,
yeah.
I think he
Can
put
you?
the question to you.
Oh, she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't hear my. She
Yes.
can't hear me. Can she not hear me? Oh, can you hear?
I don't think she heard you. Flamina, the question was to you.
The question was to Philomena or to me, to Shafe.
Oh, Safa. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry. Shafe, yes, yes,
All right.
yes. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Oh, that's a good start.
Shafe,
Go ahead.
Shafe.
Did you heard my question? I want to repeat it now.
No,
Yes. First impressions.
my first impression is her being African American, Asian American, and being a woman, the first woman who is a non-white to contest.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm.
for me, it's a big thing. Is a good thing in a way that if she wasn't part of the system, here with the experience of being the vice president, uh, I think she could do better. The thing is with Africans, she could do better, but when I'm saying she could do better, I mean she could do better or she can do better with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora,
Mm-hmm.
not with, down here in Africa. She can do better for my brothers and sisters in America, not necessarily for us in Africa, because we all know that when it comes to the Western world, they are the primary beneficiaries, the secondary beneficiaries, and the tertiary beneficiaries of democracy, not us.
Mm-hmm.
So, my impression is that I am okay, I am good with it. I went through the policy statements and all that. Um, I think she can do very good.
Okay.
In that aspect, I think she can do good.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I'm hoping that if I get the names right, and forgive me, Flomina. Flomina, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, how are
Good.
you?
Good. 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 Now, I'll quickly summarize my question. My question is, you had the opportunity to study the Kamala Harris website, and you may have the other materials. My question to you, what is your first impression of this woman who has dual heritage, both African and South Asian heritage? What's your first impression of her? Mhm.
Well, my impression first is that to recognize that Camilla has become a vice president of the state of, that's the United States of America, on merit and policies. She never had to be given any seat on a silver platter, even when she was the California senator, when she was the attorney general. She's been really fighting hard not to be
Yes.
given the seats on a silver platter. That is one thing I must recognize, and I applaud her for that as a woman. Well, I feel her policies are really nice, and they're nice for my sisters and brothers in America. Basically, I will be clear to say that me down here in Kenya,
Mhm.
well, unless she was in Kenya, they're not gonna be of help to me, but they're gonna be of help to the persons, the black women in America, and they're going to really be uh, a breakthrough for the people there, for my black women in America, because when you look at their health care, equity, access to affordable medication,
Mhm.
I think that is all we're looking at as African women, to have affordable health care, a good and well good infrastructures for healthcare centers and all that. Basically, I feel her policies are okay and very much in line, and if implemented in the right way by the right persons with a good intentionality and being deliberate on them, they are going to be very workable, and they're going to be very productive and very important to every other black woman out there. Not me in Kenya, though. I'm very far
Okay,
from
okay,
that.
okay. I'm going to get to Africa soon. Okay, I'll get to Africa soon, but I'm going to go to you, Ida. You've had the opportunity to review her website and her biography. What's your impression of her?
Um, I have to say I haven't reviewed her website. I will be
Okay.
honest, but I have looked all around trying to find out what I really think of her, because I was so happy that there was going to be a woman in the race, and that out of the two who were top runners, she was likely to win.
Mhm.
So when I first heard about it, I was really happy. Since then, I've I've noted some things which have made me think that, oh, I'm not sure about this woman. Though being a woman, I would always back her, because I think we need women in power. I think we
Yeah.
need women at the top. And I have great hopes for her, but some of the things she's done in the past might keep coming up to bite her, is what I would say.
I'm going to hold you there because we might find out what you mean by that soon.
Uh-huh.
Now, let me just progress the interview. Okay, you've given us your first impression, broadly in support. Okay, but you're cautious. Yeah? Will this benefit? Will her presence benefit Africa? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, what would this? Well, my next question is this one: what is your view on the American presence in your countries? Has America benefited
Get out!
your countries? Hold on, Ida. Has America benefited your country? And if it has, please state how. And if America hasn't, please state why it hasn't. Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to go to Chef. Okay. First of all, I'm going to ask you just to respond to that question. How has America helped or not helped your country?
Yo, yo. Okay.
You're all smiling.
Um,
It's the obvious question to
okay,
ask, isn't it?
it's a very good question.
Yes.
It's a very good question, honestly. But it's too deep.
Mhm.
America has never and will never benefit Africa. I want to be frank with you. America has never and will never benefit Africa in any way. So the reason I am saying I am okay with her policy statements, her manifestos, and so forth, I'm supporting it in the fact that they will be benefiting me, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, the African American, they say in the diaspora. However, like I said in the beginning, America is the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary beneficiary of democracy. Democracy will never work for an African country. It will never. America will never, like her being the vice president, she knows better. And I was expecting possibly something for her to um, include something that will benefit Africa in a way, because she is aware of everything that is happening in Africa. And I was expecting to see something in maybe in the lines of Congo, neocolonialism, and all
Mhm.
that, the pandemics, the depopulations, the what. I actually would expect America When I'm saying America, I'm including her as being the potential, which I actually know that she will be the president that I know. So
Mhm.
when it comes to America, I will be expecting America to be addressing these things. The reason they are not addressing it, and they are the problem to us African people,
Yes. Okay.
it's a clear sign that America will never benefit Africa in any way. Of
Okay.
all the problems we have, they are from America. All of them.
Okay. Thank you, because that's what you've described is a common view. It's not one I can challenge either. If I may, I'm now going to go to I need to get the name right. Okay, Florida, because she here she's down. She's been very studious. Here we are. Can you hear us? You can't hear, can you? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Can you respond to my question? Uh, has America been beneficial to your country? Please explain how. If it hasn't, please explain how it has been beneficial to your country. Go ahead. After you.
Wow. It's a heavy one. It's a heavy one. It's a really
Mm,
heavy one.
mm.
Uh, this is one question that needs to be answered very carefully to avoid a lot of,
Yes,
quote
it is
unquote.
well.
We're not grateful. So for me, I'll say, this question so tricky. Well, let me say that how America has helped my country. Well, I really don't want to downgrade them, but I say not much, almost zero. Because if I would have really seen their help as people might want to assume, for example, in the matters of like the African Growth and Opportunity Act that
Mm,
US facilitated trade by allowing that is Kenya export to enter the American market duty free, boosting local industries. Well, I'll say that's a good benefit. But again, if you go deeper into that, you'll get a lot of pros and cons, and the cons are more. But basically, I would say not much help from the American. But I will say again, they have made it easy for the Kenyan export. At least we have also the development aid that has been provided on HIV/AIDS and malaria and all that.
mhm.
Well, if you look at it deeper, all the African countries are potential countries, and basically the whites want to come and leverage on what we already have.
Yes.
So basically, for me, it's a 0%, but again, we are grateful for what they have really tried to do. So I don't want to confuse myself on that, but yeah.
Okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You see, that's why I asked the question. What is your sense and the evidence you have to show that America has been beneficial or not? And it's clear the responses we're receiving. And I know that Americans will watch this interview. Okay. And I'm pretty sure the Kamala Harris campaign group will watch this interview because you're saying it, describing it as it is, as you experience it. Mhm. So we've got to listen to you. That's why there are no men here, apart from myself, who are going to speak. It's the voices, the words of the women. Yeah, very, very important to hear. Ida, can I go to you? Can you respond to my question? Okay. I'm
Okay.
not going to predict what you're about to say, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to take a deep breath and say, I'm not talking about the American people in what I say, because African
Okay.
Americans, you're welcome. Come to Africa. It's
Mm,
your home.
mm,
But America as a country, as a government, get out of Africa. And
mm,
I say that because uh, I have to admit now that I didn't want to bring this in because there's too much going on, and I don't want it to be a political thing for the country I come from.
mm,
But I'm a Ghanaian. I'm born in Ghana. My home is Ghana, and
mm,
the Americans have come to put their American base in our airport, in our
Mhm.
old airport,
Mhm.
and that they are allowed liberties that even Ghanaians are not allowed. They can come and drive without having to have a Ghanaian driving license. They just drive. You don't know what state their license. All sorts of things. And the Americans, the same applies to some of the things that go on in Britain with American bases. It's the American bases that really, really annoy me. And I think they shouldn't be in Africa and they shouldn't be in a lot of countries. But people just don't quite realize how strong their grip is
Mhm.
um, in the countries that they are. And it's like, ah, I mean, sorry, I think I'm going on too long. I
No,
do
no,
think
no.
that
We're listening. We're listening.
I do think that to a certain extent, the American army has helped a lot of Black Americans rise um, to um, to maybe get out of poverty. But I don't see why they have to do that via an army. You know, they should be able to do that in their own country and
Indeed.
rise and
Indeed.
be proud people, not have to go through an army or something like that. So I want to stop because you've got me into a
It is well. This is it's raw, and for
yes.
some people, what you're describing is difficult to hear, and that's
Hmm.
accepted. Okay? And believe it or not, it's healthy. It is healthy.
Okay.
My next question, in that case, then, as you are women, you're the foundations of any family, the foundations of any village, any community, the foundations of any civilization. So my next question is, if you were seeking the support and help of others, and this in case of America, and you were speaking to this dual heritage African woman in the United States of America, and you had your shopping bag, which you wish to fill, okay? What is it from America that would benefit Africa? Mhm. That you'd like this president, who I believe will be much closer to you in terms of understanding, and she said it, what people really want, need, what she wants to satisfy. Okay. In relation to Africa, and if I may go to Shafay first of all, yeah, what would you be asking of this president, okay, for specific support to help your family, your village, your town, your cities, your civilization, your country? What would you ask? Give me three of your top requests, your top needs that you'd ask of this American president, the president of the richest country in the world. Yeah, it turns over trillions of dollars. Okay, it is more than capable of giving your country. What would be your top three requests of America? Okay, Chef, please.
You were breaking up a bit. I think your question was if I go to America and I'm given an opportunity to shop for top three things
No, no.
that I need to
Asking of the
break.
American, forgive me, asking the American President, let's say Kamala Harris, what would be your top three requests of her to give support to your people?
The top three that I would ask Kamala
Hmm.
give support to Africa,
Yes. To your people, yes, yes.
to my people.
Mm.
Yeah. I think the question will be if I could have three requests that I can ask her to do or not to do and not support. Because before I ask for support, I think I would first love, first of all, for them to get out of Africa, like stop getting involved in our business.
Hmm.
The second thing is like can you remove all the army bases you set up in the last 2 years in the Southern Africa? We at war. What is happening? Why is military bases everywhere in Africa? Recently, like the past 2 years, we just have constructions of army bases all over Southern Africa. What is happening? The third thing is the neo-colonialism, like why are we manipulating people to accept abuse? Like why are we using the system of, like, why are we abusing people mentally? Like, when we are done now with the religion, now we are coming in it. Can we just can I possibly just ask for honesty and truth? Is it possible to have honesty in politics? Is it possible?
Okay, I've got that. And just making sure I'm not misinterpreting what you've said. First of all, you want all American military bases removed from your country.
Very good.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. First-
Yes.
Secondly, you want the Americans to stop interfering in the internal affairs of the country.
Yes.
Is that right? Yep. And the last, if I've understood it, you would like them to stop manipulating your society against your.
You said?
Are you saying that the third request, that they stop manipulating your society? Is that?
You what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the manipulation of the society through neocolonialism. That's actually the most the greatest problem that we have at the moment.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's an interesting insight. Can I go to you now from can I ask you the same question? If you were speaking directly to the American president, okay, and what would be your top 3 requests of the American president?
Well, with all due respect, first of all, and the most important, please get out of our country and our business. Our political life is hell, thanks to you. We think we're the ones who make a choice of a president, but when I do my research, get out of our political business, get out of our lives. You people, I mean, I don't have the right word to tell you, but you have zero business in our political lives. Let us be democratic by ourselves. We are not democratic, so we think we are. We're not. These choices are made elsewhere, and you come and impose them, and now we no. Get out of our political businesses. As Africans, we have all the resources that we need to become who we want to be, to have the best leaders we can. And if you just move a bit, I think Africa is going to become better when it comes to our leaderships and all that. Secondly, why can't I go to the airport peacefully? In your airports, why do I have to be searched as if I'm a thief? And when you come to my country, you're given priority, you're given first class attention. Why do you have to search me and ask me where did I get the dollars from? Man, by the time I was getting into that plane, it is my money that put me there. You know, like being an African and in the American airports, I'm such as if I'm a thief and I have to prove with receipts, where did you change this money? Get out of our businesses and give us the respect that we deserve. This one I don't even have to. I mean, it is so annoying being an African in the American airports and even in their own country. You have to always look back and see, okay, am I being followed by a cop? Boy, we not thieves. We beautiful the way we look, and we can have the money. By the way, Africa is rich, so we have the money. We have the resources. So when you're in your airport, treat us with respect and get out of our businesses, please. Second, and that is, my God, did you have to come and have all the army, what do we call them, in our country? Like in every other place that I go, I see an American army, port, blah, blah, blah. Did you have to do that? We have very powerful army in Kenya. You're even borrowing some of our men to come and work in your countries, you know. Jesus, please, America, get out of our political business, get out of our economical business, get out of our health sectors. We as Africa, we know we have all that we need. It's only that you guys come and colonize us. In the current colonization is so annoying because it's not notable like before. It's like the keen people, we the keen people on what is happening in the country are the people who notice the kind and manner of colonization that is there. You can go to your country. Let us be in Africa, peace free, and do our thing. You know, don't colonize our churches. It's annoying.
I hear you.
It's annoying. Don't colonize our education system. It's annoying. And I'm an African kid. I need to be an African kid peacefully. Americans, we need to be peaceful. Kamala, we need to be peaceful.
I hear you. I hear you. We hear. We hear. Let me move on to Ida. Ask the same question. Because clearly the responses are consistent.
Wonderful responses. Thank you, ladies. Well done. Yes.
It's annoying how you have to go to an American airport as an African woman, and the search you given there is out of the way. You even start doubting yourself. Did I steal? Am I even like, was I supposed to be here? But in our airport, the same people are given a VIP attendance. You people get out of my country. I don't need you.
Okay, thank you. That's clear. That's a very clear response. Ida, let me go to you now.
I just have to tell the sister that when I used to be able to use my Ghanaian passport to enter Britain, I was always in these long queues, and I just went there to annoy the passport officers because they would ask you such stupid questions, so annoying.
Yes.
But then they've decided that now if you have a British passport, you can no longer go into those queues because they're so long. And I was happy to stand there for however long. But anyhow, I'll get back to the question. I have one request for the Americans, and that would be that they should stop stealing people's money when they come to ask for a visa to go to their country, because they will take money time and time again off people who try to go the right way by getting a visa. And if they don't get that visa, their money is gone. And it's not a little money, it's big money for the for the people who are trying to enter that way. And I just think it's blatant theft. And I say the same to the British who do that in Africa. You make people queue and queue and queue, pay a lot of money, and then you say no to them, even if they have all the right documents they've asked for. So that would be my biggest thing. And that would be the thing that annoys me the most about how Britain and America behave to African people, the actual people, that they are face to face with. Then I'd agree with all the rest that the sisters have said.
Okay.
Thank you.
So they've all been pretty consistent. So that's a very clear message. And if the Kamala Harris campaign was unaware of your attitude, your views on them, they absolutely know. My next question for you. Each of you are recognizing that America has been a problem and have hindered development of your countries. That has been the biggest problem. Both America and indeed Britain, they've had hundreds of years of opportunity to totally embed themselves in African economies, but have chosen the exploitative route rather than enabling those economies to grow. Is it your message to the future president of the United States that you don't want anything to do with the United States, but you're happy for your children to attend American schools, universities, and technical colleges? Is that what you want from the Americans? You want technology transfer? Is that what you would want from the Americans? Would that be right? Let me start with Shafe. Would you want technological transfer to Africa? And that would mean that your sons and daughters would go to America, be taught in American universities or technical colleges, and come back trained and therefore able to contribute to your society. Would that be a route for America to make a positive contribution to your community, to your nation? Shuff first.
So,
Mm,
when it comes to technology down
mhm,
here in Namibia, I don't think I will need my child to go to. Maybe a lot of people don't know much about Namibia,
mm,
or they don't know much about our technology and so forth. But our technology is actually way good than
mm,
possibly the
mm,
America also. Like when it comes to technology, we are good, we're very very good. When it comes to healthcare, we are very good. When
mhm.
most of these faults in Namibia, like people don't even understand when we're saying that we have free health facilities.
Yes.
You literally, if you are paying is maybe 20 cent, 20 cent US dollar. Yeah.
Mhm,
So technology wise or education wise, we are fine. We are not complaining, honestly. So the only request when it comes to education is that I, I try to have some I try to have some of the points that I want to say. Just when it comes to education, I feel they must stop getting involved in our education system with their mostly project hope, dreams. What? Don't come educate my child how to be gay or lesbian. Our education is very much fine. Don't get involved in my education system. And don't come and devalue our cultures.
mhm,
Yeah?
mhm,
So can we have cultural education instead of project hopes, dream, what, and all you teach these kids is actually excessive human right,
mhm.
because too much of everything is a problem.
Yes. Yes.
So you come with your excessive human rights, destroying our children in our education system. The request is, can America get out of our education system? They are every okay, fine. You are at the mines, you are at education, you are everywhere. Can you give us our space? Can you get something? Just okay. Can you just say, okay, it's your education, it's your children, teach them the way we want to teach them? Why do you have afternoon programs whereby you are teaching our children or how to be gays and all that?
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
so
Okay.
that's the only thing that I can request.
Okay.
When it comes to education,
Yeah.
we're very good. We don't need America on that.
I understand. I understand. It's a very clear message. What you're really saying, I believe, is that um, we are self-sufficient. Left to our own devices, we can resolve our own. I believe that's what you're saying. Yes, we're self-sufficient. More than okay, and the propaganda, negative propaganda that is perpetrated both in Europe and America about the ability of our peoples to evolve and develop our own societies is simply propaganda and was designed
Mhm.
to oppress both physically and mentally our peoples. I get that. I get that. And I noticed that uh, Flamener was laughing and expressed with great expression as you were speaking. Okay. If I would ask the same question of you, Flamina, can you hear us? Can you hear me? Oh, she can hear me.
Yes, I hear
Yes.
you.
The same question to you. Would you welcome technology transfer? In other words, your sons and daughters go to America and are taught the latest technology and come back to fully trained and therefore able to enable your land to be a part of the technological revolution that is taking place as would that be a positive contribution America could help and support? Yes or
Well, America, according to God's Bible, I love you all. I have no hate towards you, but I have to tell you something. I've never schooled in America myself.
no?
I have not schooled in America. So why will my son, my daughter have to go to America to school so that they can become a better version of themselves? I have not schooled in any school in America. I have schooled in Kenya. I have the best education. By the time I was in Form 4, I could attend presidential meeting and give them a vision and a version of my brain. And they will take it very well. Why do I have to have my son go to America to study? By the way, I don't even have to make him go through the first airport harassment. I'm not ready for my daughter to go through that. To be clear. Secondly, I don't have to go pay 20,000 to continue looking for a visa. I will spend 100,000. Well, I can take my daughter to a very beautiful school in Kenya, and she's gonna be better than Mama. I don't need that. I don't need to take my daughter, a very clean girl who is following the religion. She's respectful. She's following my culture. And then she comes back to me, hey, Mama, I want to marry Ida. I'm like, yo, no, that is not my culture. That ain't my culture. And I'm saying in Africa, we have all it takes. And by the way, to be honest, all these other countries are coming, the Asians and all that, they're coming to Africa to leverage on our resources because Africa is rich. Africa is rich. I've been attending several conferences in Ghana. In fact, I feel better going to Ghana for a conference. I feel better going to any other country, Namibia, Zimbabwe, going for a conference there because I'm going to meet people like me. We're going to understand each other. We're going to speak what is our issues, not their issues. We have all it takes as Africa. We have all the resources, and all those other people, including America, and we love you so much, they're coming to leverage on our resources. So they are better off leaving our resources to us and let us take the resources to them if we have to.
There you go.
If we have to.
That's it. Thank you. Hold there, because you made the point. That's very, very important. And I want to emphasize to the audience that these women are thousands of miles apart and they have not had the opportunity to speak among themselves in advance of this interview. Okay? Very important to understand. This is right across the continent. They have not spoken prior to this interview.
What would I say? I would say look around the world and see how many Africans who have been educated in Africa are in the NHS, are in technology. They're everywhere around the world, and they're being removed from their countries to go and help other countries. Their education has come
just one
from
second
Africa.
there, Ida. I've got someone on the line, but can I ask you to mute your phone, please? Mute your phone.
My phone?
No, not you. I've got a phone call.
Oh, sorry.
In fact, I've muted them. Go ahead, Ida. Continue.
Okay. So I think that okay, we have a neo-colonial or a colonial education, but at the same time, those countries want the people who we have educated, and they will end up not at the top of their game, but they're there. They are there. We just don't hear about them. And I think no, we would be better off educating people in African countries and encouraging them to work within the country to better the country.
Okay. Okay, that's
I'm
clear.
okay. Thank you. Yeah,
Oh, well, that's
thank you.
clear. That's clear. I think that this self-sufficiency, that we can do it ourselves, is an
Yes.
important method for those who wish to invest in Africa, those who wish
Hmm.
to take advantage of the natural resources in Africa. As it's been said,
Hmm.
if we have to share our natural resources, we'll share those natural resources on African terms. I think that's the
Hmm.
in control. Okay, and I think I'm reminded of a statement made by Dangote, Nigeria, who is building a oil field. Okay, and he said that he's experienced significant resistance from um, competitors in Europe with oil fighters, and now for the very first time, the oil refinery in Nigeria will enable Nigerians to export um, uh, not crude oil, but refined products from the
Hmm.
crude oil, which is much, much, much more valuable to the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
very. So crude oil will cost what, $100 per barrel, let's say, but the refined product, plastics, and other materials that are derived from that crude oil are worth thousands of pounds, thousands of
Hmm.
dollars per barrel.
Hmm.
That's the difference. That's the difference. Can I now that we've really established unity in terms of the women, in terms of the desire for Africa, okay? And I didn't expect that. I imagined that there'd be divergent views, but your views are very much alike. And I suspect if I had 20 of you here, it would all want it to be roughly the same. So what I'm going to do before I go to my next question, I see I've got a person on the line. I need to make sure, first of all, this person is a woman. There will be no male intrusion, apart from myself, into the show. Okay? So I'm going to check
Okay.
if I've got a woman online. On the phone line, with number ending 9976, can I confirm your gender? Are you a woman, first of all? Then I'll ask you your name. Can you hear us? You're on the line. Ah, you are a man.
Oh, bye bye.
Uh, This no, I'm only taking phone calls from women. All right, I'm sorry, I'm only taking phone calls from women. So I'm going to say to women out there, and I've got very little time now, and I will put the number on screen. And I thought I made myself clear early on, but that's life. Okay? I only want to receive phone calls from women. I hadn't actually officially opened telephone lines. So I'm going to answer my next question, and I will open officially the telephone lines, but I'll only take calls from women. Okay, this is women's space. This is the opportunity for women to provide their perspectives on what's happening in America and how it will benefit them as women within their communities, within their countries. Okay, so I want to emphasize that as a must. No calls for men. So if I may now move to my next question, each of you, and when looking forward, okay, bearing in mind that you're likely to have the first woman president of the United States, looking forward at the end of her presidency, and I know you're not in America, but I want you to give an impression. What do you believe she should do for women, African women in America, that you believe that potentially you could benefit from in your countries? Okay. So what can Kamala Harris do for African women, yep, in America that would potentially benefit you here in Africa? I'm going to start with, please, over to you. Oh, okay. I'll put you on mute 1 second. We unmute you 1 second. If you can unmute yourself, that's it. Go ahead
Oh,
now. Yeah.
you unmute. Okay. I hope I got the question right. The question is, what would Kamala do for American women that will benefit African women, right?
Yes. For African women in America that will benefit African women here on the in your country. Mhm.
Yo, like I said in the beginning, what will be done in America uh, cannot be benefiting African in Africa. It will benefit African American in America, but African women in Africa, it won't. For instance, for example, if she is saying, I think her first point was tax reduction on middle class or whatnot, yeah, that will
Mhm.
benefit my sisters
Okay.
in America, but it
Yes.
won't benefit me in Africa in any way because, mind you, it will not. For me, the inflation rate will obviously be high. The repo rate will obviously be high. For as long as the as African people, as African women, we don't have any say in the United Nations decision making,
Mm,
putting in consideration that we are not part of that,
mm,
whether it's now women or men, we don't have any representative of that. There is no way anything will ever change in Africa for us. As long as the World Bank is doing whatever it's doing, it will never change anything on us. It will benefit. That's why for me, I'm saying vote, go vote because it is of your benefit, my brother, my sister, because I support you. You are in diaspora. I love it for you. It will benefit you, but it will never, not even in an example, benefit me.
mm. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to question you. I see I've got a person on the line, and the studio number. We've only got a few minutes. It's if you're in the UK, it's 0203 289 6504. If you're international, it's +44 203 289 6504. I see that we've got a person on the line with number ending 2879. First of all, I need to establish, are you a woman? Ah, right. Oh, thank you. But before you go, oh, she's gone. Okay, she's gone already. I wanted to ask that question, but never mind. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you for your response there, Shafin. Flamina, what would your response be to my question? Can she hear? Oh, let me
Well,
hear.
for me, I'll
Yeah,
say,
yeah, go ahead. Yes.
pardon?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, oh let me repeat my question. Sorry. My question is this. Um, if at the end of the 4-year term, what is it that uh, President Kamala Harris can do for African women in America that potentially could benefit African women in your country, in Africa?
Well, to be honest, wow, let me put it in a more positive manner.
Please.
To be honest, to be honest, whatever is in Honorable Camilla's manifesto is good. I don't differ with it. I don't differ with the fact that she wants civil rights and equality, health care, labor and economic empowerment, justice for reform, judicial accountability. That is for America.
Mhm.
That is, and I agree with her because when their justice reforms, the women in America and my sisters, black sisters in America, they are going to benefit from that.
Mhm.
But me down here in Kenya, Unless I choose to go and live in America, then I cannot bring their reforms here. Unless I choose to go and get my healthcare services from there, which of course I feel whatever she has for healthcare is gonna close a lot of disparities through the her national healthcare inequality um, initiative. Of course, it's gonna be awesome for the women there in America, but me down here in Africa, I mean, I need to access healthcare right now, but I need my insurance to be functional for me to do that. So whatever she is doing is extremely awesome. And again, I say she's a woman. I ain't gonna put her down because in all any other seat, in all any other opportunity she's gotten, she's never begged for it. She's worked for it as a woman. But to be honest, it's not going to be of any help to me in Africa, down in Kenya, unless I go to the US, you know. But the women back there are going to be very, very, very they're going to benefit fully from that. So I ask them to vote for her because they're going to benefit from that since they're in America, but they will not carry that to Africa. So make Africa better for us by us.
By supporting you.
Make Africa better for us by us. Make our healthcare services better. Make our labor and economic empowerment better for us. Because how many women can afford even a passport to go to the US? How many people will afford the air ticket to go to the US to get some treatment, you know? But for the women in America, please take up that. She's a woman. We support her. It's a sister code. She's going to bring that healthcare, trickle it down to you, and the initiative is going to be good for the Americans and the women, black women in America. But in Africa, it's a 0%.
I understand. Okay. Well, the Americans are hearing this. You know, this is their experience, a lived experience. Okay. Ida, how do you respond to my question?
I think it was a hard question in that, how? And my answer, I think, is that I would have liked to see her have a woman running mate with her. I would like to see her have more women on her team, especially African women, wherever they come from. I would like to see her have African women rise to the top, because that's when we can see it trickle down to other places in Africa. Because I think that people have been so pressed down. That's the only way I can put it, and kept apart from being at the top of politics, especially African women. But when we see them rise, we see their power, and I would like to see more women at the top of America, especially African women.
All right, okay. I've tried to encourage this mutual cooperation, because of course there are very few countries that I'm aware that have not benefited where it's carefully controlled from foreign investment on their terms, of course, on their terms. Okay, which is why I asked the question, this connection. Clearly, America is the richest country currently around. Okay, incredible resources, but it is clearly evident that Americans have been misusing their resources and undermining our economies. It does appear to be so. And that is the impression, and indeed it's been relayed here by African women. Okay? And these are the random samples. There's a few who are not here today, and anyway, such is life, but they are thousands of miles apart and have not conversed prior to today. But yet the message is consistent. Yeah, the message is consistent. Okay, I only have 5 minutes left. I only have 5 minutes left. Okay, I'm going to turn it upside down now in terms of the sequence. I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to ask you. Okay. Now we're here. I'm not going to ask you to give a message to Kamala Harris. I was going to do that, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. I want you to share with my audience, maybe just for a minute. You mentioned the organization you belong to and the work that you engaged in. Okay. How can those who are listening engage with you to support you in your effort for that development work you're involved in? How can they contact you? My question. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the session. Basically, first of all, I applaud every other woman that is listening to this, including our Honorable Camilla. I really applaud her as a woman and every other woman out here. I mean, I'm an African, so I have to always be an African, and I appreciate being an African. One thing I will say is we're doing advocacy at the community level, that is the grassroots level, as Mind to Heart Global. You can get us on our website and communicate to us. We're supporting the grassroots women in Africa to understand the leadership, to understand who is responsible for what. We are educating the women in Africa to understand how they need to get infrastructure, proper infrastructure in their areas, how they need to get to request the government to give them proper health care services. That is basically what we do, educating our communities through the education that we've gotten from our beautiful schools in Africa, to be able to bring up our mothers who are colonized. When they were colonized, they didn't get a chance to go to school, but they have given us that chance. So we are bringing advocacy, civic education to the grassroots levels for women and girls in disability, with disability, And how you can support us is you can press the donate button, donate to our programs, donate to that one girl who needs a pad, who needs some good education in Africa that we're supporting already in Africa. We also are doing a lot of mental health, that is the healthcare policies, pushing the policy makers to not only make the beautiful policies that they make, but also implement them intentionally and deliberately. So we appreciate very much every other woman. We appreciate women power. And to me, even if I'm not asked to give the message to Camilla, I'm so happy that she has gotten to all the leadership tables without begging for them, but
Indeed.
she's gotten them light free. So that is something as a woman I can learn from her. I do not need to beg to accomplish the two-third gender role in my country. I can get it by myself. So that is something very beautiful about you, Camilla, and thumbs up.
Wonderful, wonderful. So if is there an email address you can share? You might want to put it in the chat. I'll make sure that in our next podcast that those who want to reach out to you, connect to you can. Can you, if you put it in the chat for us? Okay. Can I go to Shafe? Wonderful name, I must say. But can you just share with us the you've shared your views this morning, and thank you. Okay. I know that there are many women out there who want to reach out to you, connect to you. How can they do so? Is you an email address or telephone number you wish to share to those who want to continue that dialogue with you, or give you direct support? Go ahead.
Right. Like I said in the beginning, what I do is we are doing a cultural revolution, whereby we are at the grassroots level of teaching our people, because we should start with the lessons from home first before we go anywhere else. We are teaching our people how or why they should be African and why they should concentrate on the culture than democracy and religion. So we are at the grassroots level of teaching our Black people how to be self-conscious, to know that you are a spiritual being before physical, to teach them why is it important to embrace your culture, because if you don't have culture, you are nothing. Anything can grow you because you don't have the roots. We are basically grounding people to know before you are an educated being, you are a Vambo, you are Masai, you are Zulu. Can you be Zulu before education? So that's basically what we are teaching our people. We are in the cultural revolution at this point in time. And that is the key focus, whereby we are educating our traditional leaders They're supposed not to be called traditional leaders, but they are kings and queens. But because of democracy, we are demoting them to traditional leaders. They are not traditional leaders, they are kings and queens. We are teaching them the importance of taking up the stand, knowing
Mhm.
your position, that you are way above politics, you are way above democracy. Can you take your seat and let people respect you? That is where we are standing at the moment.
Yes.
Anyone can reach me on my, where I'm most heavily active is my TikTok channel.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
will share it's actually FAZZO123.
Okay. Yes.
FAZZO123. That's basically my YouTube, my TikTok channel. I'm mostly active on that, so people can
Thank
reach
you.
me there. My black sisters can reach me there, and for my black brothers and sisters in America, they can go vote. You didn't ask me to say that, but they can go vote for Kamala. I love her
Mhm.
manifesto, making a lot of sense. They can go vote because it will benefit them. However, I want people to know that there is life after elections. I will be advising people to go vote, but they must put in mind there is life after elections. We had this experience in 2008. So there is life after elections in these manifestos. Basically, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And very quickly, Ida, I'll just say for those on the Galaxy Afui network, I'll disconnect from the network shortly. I know that I believe is Empress Shanice after myself. But if I can now go over to you, Ida, just give us, those who wish to reach out to you, how can they do so? But I'm sure, in fact, I'm positive, based upon the number of comments we've had and so on, that they would want to reach out to you and continue the dialogue of positive improvement for our people. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you know, I'm a very quiet person in my own way. But I would say, don't reach out to me. Come and join. Come and join the groups that I'm part of. The most important one that meets every Sunday is the Sunday International, SIS, Sunday International Solidarity. And
Absolutely.
it starts at 4 o'clock. It goes round the world. You have people from all over the world who join it. And how can I say it? Oh, they start off with news for an hour and then they have a speaker. And then at the end of it, it ends by about 7 o'clock or something like that. But it doesn't finish then. It then goes um, into anybody. How do they call it? It goes into time where everybody can say whatever they want and join into the conversation, and it can go on till 2 o'clock at night or even later. You know, people just drop out in the end, but everybody gets their chance to listen to what's going on around the world. So, of all the groups that are very dear to me, that would be the one that I'm on almost every Sunday, just because you hear of what's going on around the world. You have your chance to speak if you want to. Apart from that, um, the Conciergism group are on YouTube, and you can.
Mhm.
They've got over 100 and something um, videos that you can watch of our
Yes.
past things that have gone on. Um, GAC UK is very important to me because Global African Congress is about
Absolutely.
reparations. And
Yes.
I think, you know, we're owed reparations. We need to fight, 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 fight. But, you know, it might even be not your generation, but the generation after. But they need to know that they owe us. You
Yes.
know, our forefathers have slaved for nothing and they
Mhm.
need to be paying us back. So I think it's not a matter of who am I, but who are you? Can't you join us? You know, can't you
Absolutely.
get onto the fight for either reparations or to get Africa into a united Africa for all? Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So what I would do, just for the benefit of the audience, if you're on YouTube or Facebook, I'll put all the details there in the comment section, so you have details of each of the organisations. You can reach out to them, and you can become a part of the change. You are all change makers. I want to thank you all for your inspired contribution today. You know, it's always good to listen to women, you know, what I'm astonished by is that there's such unity, thousands of miles apart, but yet the message is consistent.
Mhm.
Thank you. I wish you well today, now, and into the future. And we will do this again because we want to hear the voices of women. Praise be. Be good to yourselves and to your family. Blessings to you. Blessings.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blessed to
Okay.
you.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye bye.
Blessed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wow. That was something, people. That was something. I have to say, that was something. That was a tremendous experience. We heard the voices of African women, thousands of miles apart across the continent and here in Europe. Okay. But the message was exactly the same. There was no collusion, no prior discussion, but yet the lived experience is raw and direct. They prefer that America or any other country not be involved in their nation states. Let the people find their own solution. Stop the manipulation. Okay. Stop the exploitation of their natural resources. Let the people develop those natural resources. They can be a part of the worldwide economic system. Respect African culture, traditions, honor them. Okay? They were different, true, but yet we honor and respect them. That's all they ask. Yeah. But Africa has the resources, it has the skills, it has the wherewithal to solve its own problem. And if we ask, indeed, it is asked for foreign support, it's on African terms, yeah, on African terms. Because Africa has been around for a very, very, very long time. The cradle of mankind. You saw Kenya, the cradle of mankind. We all come from that part of the world. A powerful, powerful testimony from our women. We'll do it again. It's important to listen to the women. And those of you who are in any doubt, have any doubt about this, I simply say to you that do not believe the propaganda. And it's propaganda, I believe, that has imprisoned both Europe and America in terms of the relationship with Africa. The propaganda that is born out of brutality, yeah, savagery, greed, hubris. Mhm. And consequently, you're now imprisoned by your past because there's been no reconciliation. There's been no repair of the damage you've done to yourselves. Forget about Africa. You've done to yourself. So it's easy for other international players, such as China, who will speak to Africans with respect as equals, trading partners, and will support those infrastructure developments that enables the nations to evolve. But the women were clear, we can do it ourselves. Okay? We can do it ourselves. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of those women. As I said, there have been no collusion, no prior discussion, and they're thousands of miles apart. And they're almost a random selection. Almost a random selection. I say almost because it's certain networks. But it was truly an eye. If you're on YouTube, please don't leave here without subscribing. It's free. We give you notification of the follow-on interviews. Leave a comment or give us an affirmation. Give us your thumbs up, just so we know that you receive this message well. Okay. I understand that on Facebook there are some interesting restrictions going on there, which makes no sense to me, because this seems to be a very honest and open dialogue here. Gosh, you can't always be in sort of entertainment, as it were. This is just factual exchanges, yeah, meaningful exchanges. It makes, I would have said, that particular platform meaningful. But anyway, there you go, there you go. But none of you should leave this podcast with the feeling that there is no future. There is a great future ahead. You heard the strengths of those women. There's a great future ahead. Be in no doubt. The future is what we make of it. The future is what we make of it. Be in no doubt. The future is what we make of it. Leave your comment, or to hear your comment. And don't forget to spread the word of these podcasts. Share it with your family, your friends, your network, the link to these podcasts. Okay? On our next podcast, next Saturday, we'll continue the same theme. But next Saturday, we'll focus on the business communities across Africa, the Caribbean, and here in Europe. The African business communities are the continental Caribbean. We want to focus on the business communities. What would it mean to have a Kamala Harris presidency in the United States of America? To business, yeah, to business. What would it mean? So watch this space, and if you have suggestions, reach out to me. I'll be interested to hear your commentary. But until the next vlog, I am the motivator. And those of you who missed the intro video, I urge you to watch the intro video I'll play out today. Watch it keenly. It is jam-packed full of useful information, insightful information on Kamala Harris, a woman who's not had it easy, yeah? But behind her, there is a series of firsts, yeah? A series of firsts. And for that alone, it's worth paying attention to that future presidency, regardless of what the other guy might say, yeah? The other guy whose name I will not call. All right. So, until the next strong, I remain the motivator.
The Motivator Show. The internet's most inspirational podcast. Every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Kamala Harris, Vice President. Let's debate a future Kamala Harris presidency on The Motivator Show, the People's Town Hall. African Women's Voices. African women from across Africa and Europe share their ambitions, demands, and concerns for a future Kamala Harris presidency. Yes! Vice President Kamala Harris, born 1964 in Oakland, California. Her father, Professor Donald Harris, Emeritus Professor of Economics at Stanford University, born 1938 in St. Anne's Parish in Jamaica. Her mother, Dr. Shamaria Gurpan, PhD, endocrinologist, breast cancer researcher, born 1938 in India, Chennai. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party's nominee for president in 2024. Indeed, the Democratic Party's first African and South Asian American and first woman nominee for President of the United States of America. After President Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential election, Vice President Kamala Harris launched her own presidential campaign with President Biden's endorsement. On July 22nd, 2024, Harris secured enough non-binding support from delegates to become the presumptive nominee of the Democratic Party. At the Democratic National Party convention, Vice President Kamala Harris' acceptance speech, she said, before coming into politics, she worked as a lawyer, eventually becoming the US Attorney General, the top lawmaker in the country. She said, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. She said that if she became president, she would focus on everyday needs, wanting to make sure Americans are fully able to make their own decisions about their own lives, especially about matters of heart and home. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party nominee for President 2024. She will be America's first woman president. Women were deliberately left out of the US Constitution as they were not recognized as full citizens in 1787. Even today, centuries after it was enacted, the Constitution does not fully prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Sex is not held in the same strict standard as race and religion in the eyes of the law, making it harder for women to court to prove complaints of bias or unequal treatment. That is why the Equal Right Amendment, ERA, must be added to the Constitution. After a century of advocacy, women are now closer than ever to having the ERA enshrined in the US Constitution. The progress America has made towards women's equality can be lost at any time because those advances depend on legislation that can be and has been weakened or repealed by Congress. But the ERA can stop that from happening. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. On June 24, 2022, the nightmare scenario many Americans feared became a dystopian reality. In a 6-3 decision in Dobbs versus the Jackson Women's Health Organization, the infamous, extreme, right-wing conservative justices of the United States Supreme Court struck down a previous decision of the Supreme Court, Roe v. Wade, stripping women and all pregnant persons of bodily autonomy and opening the floodgate for anti-women states to impose onerous restrictions on abortion without exception for rape, incest, or medical care for the pregnant person. The 6 Supreme Court justices who lied at their confirmation hearing testified Roe v. Wade was settled law. Justices Amy Coney Barrett, Justice Neil Gorsuch, Justice Clarence Thomas, Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Justice Samuel Alito, and indeed Chief Justice John Roberts. Chief Justice John Roberts favored upholding the Mississippi restriction on abortion, highly exceptional restrictions, but didn't favour overturning Roe v. Wade. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. According to the African American Policy Forum report, Black girls matter. Girls of colour, particularly African heritage girls, face experiences both similar to as well as different from their male counterparts. The School to Prison pipeline does just that, sending young children of African heritage, disproportionately girls, from schools to incarceration. It exists as an infrastructure to institutionalize racism, reinforcing subordination of women of African heritage. Currently, more than 200,000 women are in prison, and their incarceration rate is double that of men. Women of African heritage suffer disproportionately and are incarcerated at triple the rate of white women. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. She has also been fighting for justice reform for decades. As San Francisco's district attorney, she implemented a nationally recognized model to reduce recidivism rates from 50% to under 10%. And as vice president, she strengthened accountability of federal law enforcement by banning chokehold, restricting no-knock entries, and providing guidance on use of force standards. Over the past 4 years, Vice President Harris has worked alongside President Biden to increase African American wealth by 60% compared to before the pandemic, and to help over 250,000 African Americans become homeowners. As Vice President and as a Senator, she secured tens of billions of dollars for community development financial institutions across the country, and launched the Economic Opportunity Coalition, a novel private-public initiative where private sector entities are driving tens of billions of dollars into underserved communities. Vice President Kamala Harris will be America's first woman president. On a recent trip to Africa, the focus not on what the United States could do for Africa, but what the administration could do with the continent. She repeated two strategically important statistics: that the median age on the continent is 19, and that by 2050, 1 in 4 people on the planet will live in Africa. In Accra, thousands cheered Vice President Harris during a major speech at Black Star Gate, a monument celebrating the country's gaining independence in 1957. When she discussed equality for women, she said, "Let us agree, women around the world must be able to fully participate in economic, political, and social life. And they must be able to participate equally, including in leadership roles. It is a key to maximizing global growth and opportunity." The Motivators Show. Success is ours for the taking. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Press the like button and don't forget to leave a comment. Follow us on Facebook. Give us the thumbs up and share with your family and friends. We are also on Instagram and TikTok. Follow us there too. You can listen to us on galaxyafui.net and also Mixcloud too.